What are we laughing for? Why is this a feel-good moment? We just lost. You had a bad performance on your job. Keep losing and see what happens.
He threw a deep ball where there was 3 Gators. Not 1, not 2, but 3 Gators in the same area. Jackson, were you throwing the game away?
Congratulations to Bryce Underwood on becoming a millionaire. Hey, if you'd did that for me, I'm out of there. What's good, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome into yet another episode of the Fitz Take Podcast. I'm your guy, Jamarcus Fitzpatrick. He's your guy, Elijah Nixon, a.k.a. E-Money, a.k.a. Eli, a.k.a. the pride of Connecticut and all across the world, wherever he is, rocking the Move in Silence hoodie over there. Shout out to our guy, Pat Mensa, and his brand and everything that they're doing over there in Move in Silence. Shout outs to those guys. Guys, thank y'all so much for 270 subscribers on YouTube. Without y'all, none of this is possible. We appreciate you guys so much for what you've done for us. If you're looking at this video for the first time and you're not a subscriber, hit the bell down below. Be sure to like, be sure to share, comment, but most importantly, make sure that you subscribe to the channel. Also, follow us over on Spotify, where you can hear and listen to our podcast. If you're not somebody that watches it visually, you can listen to the podcast as well. Also follow myself, Elijah, and my production company, One Way Productions, over on our social media platforms. They're all linked down in the description. Elijah, it was a busy week, busy weekend with the Cajuns and stuff too, man. How was your week?
Man, it was good, man. The Cajuns had a good game yesterday. I mean, it was a back and forth battle in the third and fourth quarters, but they solidified that win to, clinch a share. But now next week, we just hope they clinch it as a whole and possibly get that Sun Belt championship, host the Sun Belt championship at Cajun Field. But like you said earlier, just rocking the Move in Silence thing. We all know Pat, who actually played for the Cajuns, now work for him. He's a big supporter of our podcast. He comes up there and talk junk. He talked to Fitz a couple weeks ago about this Cam Ward stuff. So he watches and he does talk a lot of smack about it. So I had to rock his gear just one time. He showed us the same support back.
Yeah, shout outs to those guys, man. They I can't think of what's the name of their podcast, but I know it's him. My guy Brian Jean-Pierre, aka Beezy. Y'all check that boy out on TikTok. He's went viral buku times for what he's doing. I think Keon is on that podcast with him too, Keon Martin. So shout outs to those guys for everything that they're doing, and the way that they're pushing things out in their brands individually. But without further ado, let's go ahead and go into take number 1, which is our first play, and it is 5-star quarterback, the number 1 overall quarterback in the country. I believe the number 1 player in the country as well in the 2025 class, Bryce Underwood, flipping his commitment from the LSU Tigers to the Michigan Wolverines. I did not call this at all, but I said that if LSU were to lose to Vanderbilt, I thought Bryce Underwood would flip his commitment, but he flipped before the game even happened, and for a much different reason. According to multiple reports, it was saying that LSU had offered Underwood $1.5 million per year, so that would have been, I think, $6 million over his tenure in college for 4 years, and Michigan kind of came back with a take it or leave it type of scenario and said, look, here's $12 million over 4 years, take it or leave it. And he took it, and I can't blame him. So they kind of left LSU with their pants down, metaphorically speaking, because he was the plan for the future. He was the guy. He was going to be the guy, regardless of if Garrett, stays next year or if he declared for the draft, he was going to be your future in the quarterback room at LSU. So Elijah, the question is, do you blame Bryce Underwood for his decision? And now that we know he will not be in Baton Rouge, what is the next step for LSU in terms of what they need to do at quarterback?
Do I blame him? In the words of Mac Main, no, not at all. I do not blame that man at all. $12 million is tough to turn down, especially a kid coming out of high school. You're staying home. And I don't know, but I read reports that Tom Brady was a big factor in it. Who doesn't want to learn from Tom Brady? So, again, I don't blame him at all. Now, for LSU, is this a tough loss? I think so, but at the same time, man, LSU still got quarterbacks on that roster. Garrett can still have a possible of him coming back. I don't count out Brian Kelly as a recruiter. I think he still could bring in people as a recruiter. Now, at the end of the day, for some of these kids, money talks. Money definitely talks, and I understand that. So it's going to come down to, to me, a couple of boosters that's coming around that campus to keep securing 4-star, 5-star talent, to keep this program rolling. Because at the end of the day, we all said it, the time has changed in college football. College football right now is on a trajectory of being, to me, the one of the biggest, if it's not already the biggest, but the one of the biggest sporting events there is across the world because of how the landscape is with different colleges. Now the boosters, now the money's coming in. TV programs are buying in. So I think that for going back to what Bryce Underwood, I don't blame him, but we have to realize for LSU fans that, I mean, losing him doesn't necessarily mean that every recruit is gone as well. Brian Kelly, I think, could still retain some of these guys, but I don't blame Bryce Underwood at all. Take the money, stay home, um, possibly learn from the greatest quarterback to ever touch the football in the NFL. And honestly, I know Michigan is a pretty historic program in itself, and they play big games as well. So it's not like you lost them to Alcorn State or Jackson State or anything. You lost them to Michigan.
Well,
Michigan is.
how they catch a string?
Hey, I'm
They catch a
sorry,
string.
man. Because they make it seem like Michigan isn't a
They
historic.
sitting there like, "What you say? Forget me for?"
they're a big program as well. So I don't blame Bryce Underwood to fully answer that question in the totality of it all.
No, I agree with you. You give me $12 million right now for anything else, I'm going. I go to Ann Arbor. I, bye. Sorry. Because that's just, bro, that's life changing money. And him being the top quarterback there in the country, his path towards success is going to push him to be a first round draft pick. So this is setting him up just to make more and more money, change his family's life, set his family up for generational wealth. I cannot blame that kid. Go make the money. You figure out all the other stuff later down the line about playing the game, but you go and you make the money. In terms of LSU, they are still ranked sixth in the country according to On3. In terms of recruiting classes for this year, they have 2 5-stars, they have 16 4-stars, and 7 3-stars. You still got cornerback DJ Pickett there at the top, of course, running back Harlem Berry, who his high school career is now over after St. Edmund put up 78 against him in the playoffs. But he's a 5-star. And then an extensive list of other 4-stars, like I mentioned, that they have. In terms of what LSU has to do now is, number one, you got to get Garrett Nussmeier to come back next year. I know a lot of people are saying that, we want to get off the Nuss bus, and that he's, not that guy, and we need to give Ricky Collins a chance or Colin Hurley a chance, which they should be given an opportunity later down the line. But you cannot tell me that if you have the opportunity to have a veteran quarterback that's already been in your system, that has 1 year of playing in the SEC under his belt, to come back, that you're going to turn that down. You're just not. Because the only other alternative is that you got to go hit the portal. So what you have to do is you have to get Garrett to come back, right? If he doesn't come back and he decides to declare for the draft, because I think he's like the 5th quarterback prospect on draft boards right now. I think Mel Kiper has him as the 5th quarterback behind like Cam Ward, Shador, and some other guys that are slipping my mind right now. But when you look at that, if he decides to go, you got to go hit the portal. You got to go get somebody with experience. You cannot put Ricky Collins, no offense. You cannot put Colin Hurley, no offense, who have never started in the SEC, back out there in 2025. You just can't. So that's the bottom line. Talk to Garrett, see if he'll come back, which, I think that he'll want to, because the performance he put out there wasn't his best. He had some great games this season. And it looks like that they will finish up as an 8-4 ball club if they can handle business against Oklahoma next week. So he'll definitely want to close out his career on a much higher note than what he has. So go in the portal. If Garrett doesn't come back, if he does, build around him. Make sure that he can be successful for next year. But congratulations to Bryce Underwood on becoming a millionaire. Congratulations to that young fella. Can't blame him for that decision at all. Huh?
Before 19 too,
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, hey, if you'd have did that for me, I'm out of there.
huh?
I'm out of there. Can't. I'm sorry. I'm loyal to the people with my last name and with my blood. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Today is a new era. I'm sorry.
Right.
So, congratulations, Bryce Underwood, as the star quarterback out of high school, has flipped his commitment from LSU to Michigan. Let's go ahead to take number 2, ladies and gentlemen, and make some forward progress over the weekend. College football was absolutely insane in terms of the upsets that we saw. I was looking at the list of them a little bit earlier, and it was crazy. Me and Elijah looked at one of them late as we were getting back to the station that night after Louisiana beat Troy 51-30. Um, but earlier in the day, we saw Florida knock down number 9 Ole Miss. We saw in the nightcap, Alabama put up 3 points as the number 7 team in the country and lose to Oklahoma, who was 5-5 at the time, losing 24-3. We saw Colorado while we were out there at the field lose to Kansas 37-21. BYU lost to Arizona State 28-25. And in the nightcap of the later part of the night, once we were done doing all the work and everything, Texas A&M goes to 4 overtimes against Auburn, and they lose 43-41. So you had 4 teams that were unranked to beat 4 ranked teams, and then obviously, like I said, that head-to-head between BYU and Arizona State. Arizona State being the lower ranked team at the time, but they lost in that contest. BYU did it. That is lost in that contest, and so now the AP Top 25 is as follows. You have Oregon at number 1, Ohio State still at 2, Texas, Penn State, Notre Dame, Georgia goes up to 6, Tennessee at 7, Miami at 8, SMU at 9. Indiana falls down to number 10, Boise State at number 11, Clemson at 12, Alabama at 13, Arizona State at 14, Ole Miss at 15, South Carolina at 16, Iowa State, Tulane coming in at number 18. They're creeping on up there. BYU drops down to 19, Texas A&M to 20, UNLV 21, Iowa. No, this is Illinois 22. Colorado, Missouri, and Army rounding things out in the top 25. So, Elijah, out of all of those crazy upsets that we saw, that we witnessed, that we talked about over the weekend, which one was your favorite and why?
I'm gonna have to go with Florida. Florida Ole Miss. Um, I just want to say because of the culture change in Florida. Florida got off to a horrible start. Billy Napier was on the hot seat. I mean, his seat was like jacuzzi burning a couple of weeks ago. But then, the culture turned around. He started winning games, and I don't want to say this is the most meaningful game that he won, but it's one of the ones that he's won this year, especially playing the spoiler and beating Ole Miss. Now, on paper, you would think Florida was outmatched. You would think that Florida wasn't supposed to be in the game with Ole Miss. To me, Billy Napier got these guys to believe in something. Um, you can say it's too little, too late, or you can say it's at the right time because next year when they roll around, this team may look like something that we thought it would look like when it comes there. But yesterday during that upset, or Saturday I should say during that upset, I think that Florida showed their true colors of what they can be. Now, before I get, as I give Florida their flowers, I'm going to have to throw some of Ole Miss's away because the one person that made me mad in that game was Jackson Dart. It didn't make no sense to me. It made no sense to me. He gets on the field, guys, throws nearly an interception, and then because Florida drops it, the very next play, he throws it right back to the Florida guys, and they intercepted to end the game. But I could go before that. Let's go before that. He threw a deep ball where there was 3 Gators. Not one, not 2, but 3 Gators in the same area, and they picked it off and put them in that position to where they had to have to play keep up. So what I mean by that is Jackson, were you throwing the game away? I mean, I hate to say it like that, Jackson. I really do. But there is no way that you do it 3 consecutive times. Who are you throwing the ball to, my guy? I mean, the people that I think you should be throwing the ball to has Ole Miss on their helmet and jersey. You're throwing to blue and orange. That's orange isn't in Ole Miss. I mean, yeah, not in Ole Miss colors. I'm like, it didn't have the audacity to be upset both times. Like he did not throw the ball. Who else pulled the trigger, sir? Who else pulled the trigger, sir? I can understand Lane Kiffin was upset. Whoever the offensive coordinator is over the upset, but you're the one that threw the ball. You like that's the part that gets me. I don't understand what was the logic behind it. I didn't see post game interviews or anything like that. But again, Jackson made really bad decisions. I'm not taking anything away from Florida. I think they played really great, but he made really bad decisions on 3 straight possessions, and that's something that if you're really looking into it, scouts should start looking into before they try to draft this kid. Because I'm not saying that he can't be nothing special on the next level. He can be. Everybody learns, but 3 times, the same mistakes, like that's not going to get you far in the NFL. NFL for you is going to be not for long. That's what it's going to stand for. If you make those mistakes, NFL is going to stand for not for long for people that keep doing that same stuff. So that's where I'm at with it.
Now that you done absolutely roasted the butt off of Jackson Dart, that boy, now, my God, he can stand a chance against you. I do want to interrupt this program to bring the news of, and of course, this will be dated by the time it airs. But South Carolina has lost their first game since 2021 to UCLA.
Girls basketball?
Mm-hmm. The first time since 2021.
Ooh.
It's crazy. It's crazy, man. College sports is nothing like it. And I said this after the game that I am about to talk about. Me and Elijah were sitting there watching it when Auburn and Texas A&M went into 4 overtimes. God, I mean, first of all, just looking at the box score, because I didn't look at any of the beginning of the game. Literally, it was just the overtime periods, the fourth quarter and overtime periods that we watched. Auburn was up 21-0 in this game in the second quarter before Texas A&M scored 21 unanswered, and then it was kind of a back and forth from there until you got into overtime. You get to the first overtime, and Texas A&M scores first, and then Auburn comes back and they score. And then the second overtime, you get 2 field goals, and then did they skip it? Oh, the third overtime, nobody scored. But then we came back for the fourth overtime, and that's when you go into the 2-point conversions back and forth. Auburn converts, and then Texas A&M dials up a great play. Great play. Marcel Reed threw a beautiful pass to his receiver, but he could not haul it in. And I know that brother was sick and probably is going to be sick for quite some time now, but like you can't write anything better than that. Like NFL, I mean, probably the best moment that we've seen like that this season was when Jaden Daniels threw the Hail Mary against, the Chicago Bears. But like that, seeing that, the way that game finished was absolutely incredible. Hats off to the Auburn Tigers, who had nothing to play for in that game. I mean, they were 4-6 coming in. They're now 5-6 on the year. They will fight to try to finish the year at 6-6. But when you're a team like that at that point in the season, you're even more dangerous because you're not playing for anything. A team that has nothing to lose is probably one of the worst nightmares of a team that has everything to lose. Texas A&M had 2 losses on the season already. Now they dropped to 8-3, and now they are no longer in a situation where they control their they technically control their own destiny, but they're in an even tighter situation. Georgia by default kind of is the middleman. They have the ability now where they have clinched a spot in the SEC championship, so they're going to Atlanta once again. And next week, A&M and Texas. You got to put your big boy pants on because that's the game. College game day is going to be in your city, and a winner goes to Atlanta. And you go and you have the opportunity to play for an SEC championship. A lot of people are predicting that it will be Texas and Texas, it'll be Texas and Georgia playing in that SEC championship game. Um, but just upsets happening like that can really derail not only the trajectory of where a team is going, the momentum that they had, but it can mess up people's playoff chances. I mean, look at Alabama, look at Ole Miss. They're not gonna make it to the college football playoffs now because of a few moments. Obviously, Oklahoma just beat up on freaking Alabama. Like they ran the ball so much. Like I think they threw like 11 passes or something, or completed like 11 passes, some small number, and they ran the ball 50 something times. Like that's crazy. LSU, study your film hard because they're gonna run that ball, and if you can't stop that run, you will be 7-5. So just be prepared. College football, like I said, you gotta love it. So many great moments over the weekend, and it's now shook up the top 25 right there in the middle, to where we're gonna have a little bit of a photo finish. Obviously, with Colorado now, they no longer control their destiny, but it was so many different outcomes of like for Colorado to clinch a spot in the Big 12 championship. This has to happen, and then BYU is this. Arizona State this like all this different stuff. Like at this point, bro, like we'll figure it out at 11 p.m. Saturday, next Saturday. That's when we'll know. We'll know what championship Saturday will look like from there. So, congratulations to all the teams that get upsets. And then like my biggest thing that I love about upsets also is like, especially when it's unranked teams being ranked teams, is them kids storming the field. I know people are like the safety and you're giving away money, but bro, that's what college is all about. Having crazy broke fun, getting the opportunity to just do something that you would never get to do again once you become an adult. Like, I mean, you can, but it's a little bit more crazier then. And then, jumping over them guardrails. If you fall, hey, them bruises don't heal up the same way when you get older. They just don't. So, congratulations to all those schools that got those upsets. Always making college football very, 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 very fun for us to watch as consumers. And it's also people that work in the sports industry. Um, with that, ladies and gentlemen, let's go ahead to take number 3, and we're going to fly out to Cali, going to California, because on Friday morning, with no like out of nowhere, like a Randy Orton RKO out of nowhere, Kendrick Lamar dropped an album, GNX, and boy, did he send some shockwaves through the culture, dropping some very impactful lines throughout a lot of his songs, dropping 12 tracks in it. And like when I'm first listening through an entire album, on my first listen, I always start the ones where it's like, all right, I felt it. I started 8 of them. So this was a good one, bro. It was a good one. You had your radio hits, and I think of like the dancers, the TV off, the squabble ups, those songs and stuff like that. But Kendrick made it extremely clear in this album that that man works hard. From Man at the Garden or Whacked Out Murals, he talked about, I've worked extremely hard to get to the point that I'm at. And if you gonna say something about me, it will not go unnoticed. That's where he is at. And I love it because, brother, if you work hard, should nobody be out there talking crazy about you. And I understand that. I get that. And he has found a way to artistically depict how he feels about these different situations. So Elijah, I know I told you about it because I don't think you knew that the album had came out. So once you had listened to it, what were some of your favorites? And then yeah, kind of what do you think about? We'll get into Whacked Out Murals. What did you think about the album and that song too?
I think the album was really, really good, well thought of. Whacked Out Murals was a great tone setter. Uh, exactly for what you think the album was going to be. I think Luther was really good. Man at the Garden was good. Reincarnated was good. The Heart Part 6, that was really good. I mean, I could go on and on, man. Of course, TV off, Squabble Up. This was an album to me that was well put together through, I think, from playlist wise, like when it goes from one song to another sonically, it doesn't mess up your ears a little bit. It goes right into each other. But I also think the samples that he chose were actually pretty well too. I think Kendrick did a really good job of putting this piece together. Some people said that this is a mixtape. Well, this is a fire mixtape. You know, This mixtape will be played in this house, and it will be played like in your house.
We
But
need to get back into the mixtape era too, bro.
I
Because
think so too, man.
people not doing that. Everybody gotta drop an album. Ain't
And
nobody.
I also like the creativity. Like Man in the Garden was one mic. When and the first time I heard Man in the Garden, I heard the one mic sample in there. I was like, oh, he about to do something, and he did. So, and it reincarnated how he, had that tone of Tupac. We all know that he's like Tupac too, but he had that tone of Tupac in that reincarnated song as well. That was good music, man. This is good music, like all around good music. I haven't stopped listening to it since it came out. Since you texted me about it, honestly. Uh, and I think this is a really really good album, mixtape, whatever it will be. And I think that if he follows up with something else, I hope that it just continues on this trajectory of what he's trying to put out there. But it was really good to me.
Yeah, man. Like I said, 8 songs on the album. I starred, um, TV off, Luther. I love songs that you can take a sample and you can reinvent it in a way where you're, giving homage to the artist that you sample from, but you made it uniquely your own. Squabble Up, and like I said, TV off too were 2 dance bops. I also liked how you said like it was sonically good, how you can go from being a turn up song to where we can quiet it down a little bit, and it just has a good flow to it. Like sometimes people, put albums together and they don't think about how it's gonna sound to the listener playing all the way through, or you don't see songs. Some of them like they end and then flow right into the next one. People don't put albums together like that, like the way that they used to. But Kendrick did a good job in that and doing that. And then we look at whacked out murals. Like he has some name drops in there. He talked about Lil Wayne. The line was, let me see if I can pull it up. Because people, I've been favoriting so many tweets of people talking about it and saying stuff about it, of what it was, which I don't think it was a diss. I think it was truly just him mentioning someone's name. But he said, I used to bump the Carter 3. I held my roller chain proud. Irony, I think my hard work let Lil Wayne down. He said he got the Super Bowl and Nas was the only one to congratulate me. All these boys agitated. I'm just glad it's on their faces. Um, and then he also had a line in there about Snoop saying that saying that he hoped that it was the edibles when he liked Taylor Made that Drake had dropped during the beef that they were having. Obviously, Snoop Dogg responded and said K Dot's new album GNX is fire. He said it was the edibles, West Coast or West King. Lil Wayne responded as well, said, "Man, WTF I do? I just be chilling, and they still come from boy, the way he's spelling this, still come from my head. Let's not take kindness for weakness. Let this giant sleep. I beg you all. No one really wants destruction, not even me, but I shall destroy if disturbed. On me, love." Um, do you think this was a diss? Like, or do you think, is Kendrick just talking about what's going on in his life?
I think it's just Kendrick talking about what's going on. Obviously, when the Super Bowl thing came out, we even talked about it. Should Wayne be performing in New Orleans? Little Wayne even commented, and he to me he didn't congratulate Kendrick. All he said was, "Dang, it was for me. They ripped it from me." Blah 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 blah. Look, Lil Wayne, I mean, I kind of agree with Kendrick. Like he didn't even say. All he said he just wanted congratulations. I guarantee if you just said congratulations, I don't know what his plan is with the Super Bowl, but I guarantee he would have called you and be like, "Hey, I didn't pick this thing. I mean, but I don't want to let my hard work dim the light on my hard work because of what you got going on. But I guarantee we could put something together and put something out there for you as well for the part of the show. I guarantee he probably would have did something like that because I don't think he had a beef with him. On top of that, too, and I'm gonna explain this in a way for everyone to understand where I come to with this. Competition to me is what makes the world go round. I think with Lil Wayne and Kendrick were both competing for the same spot. I don't want to say Kendrick was, but it turned out to be him competing for the same spot. Is what makes the world go round. There's a thin line between competition and there's a thin line with hate. At the end of the day, how a prime example, myself and Fitz, we're both in the same market. If a job opens up and there's one job that's only there, we both apply to it. and Fitz gets the job. I had no reason to hate on this guy because of the hard work that I know he puts in behind the scenes. I seen it. He put in behind the scenes. He put in front of the camera. He put out there for the world to show. Not saying I don't work just as hard. It's just that for him, he works hard. He deserved that job. Let him go get it. And what I'm gonna stop being his friend because he got the job? I'm gonna congratulate him. I'm gonna say, you know what, brother, you did a really good job. If we was both competing for an Emmy, he won the Emmy. You know what, bro, you did a really good job. That's where I feel like what Lil Wayne should have did with Kendrick. It's not given to you. Anything is not going to, even because you work hard. Sometimes, and I hate to say it like this, but sometimes the result isn't proof of what the work was because you could work just as hard, but you're not going to get that same result. So I wish that Lil Wayne would have took that and shook his hand or did something saying, you know what, Kendrick deserved it. He worked hard. I seen him in the studio when they worked together, or if they didn't, I had songs with him, and I know how he works. So at the end of the day, yes, it was disappointing in the moment for somebody who's from there, but doesn't mean that you should rain on his parade of because you're feeling like you're feeling down and you're feeling like you should be there. You should congratulate that man. I don't think it was no beef or any hard feelings between y'all two before, so it shouldn't be none now.
That was very eloquently said, Elijah. And I have not a whole lot to add to that because yes, all of that and then some, all of that. You completely right. I think that, and I do want to go back and say that after watching Lil Wayne, I can't remember what was that Wheezy Fest,
Yeah,
something, and it was whatever it was streaming on Amazon, and he got on that mic and said, "Don't stop." I said, you know what? This probably don't need to be the Super Bowl halftime. I love his music, but maybe I was wrong. Maybe I need to retract. Maybe I need to recant because that was absolutely crazy. But yeah, sometimes music or sometimes real life personifies itself into artistry, and Kendrick did a really good job in doing that with this album GNX. So if you have not heard it, go and listen to it. GNX by Kendrick Lamar that he dropped. The 12 tracks is there. Like we said, we've been spinning it all weekend since we heard it, and people are like I said, a pastor somewhere. He was preaching a message and was talking about. He was like using a metaphor about like how Burger King said, you can have it your way. And he said, if you want a burger with ketchup on it, you can. Then he said, mustard. I said, boy, what is going on up in here? So the world has definitely taken notice now that this music has dropped. So we'll continue to see. We'll see if there's going to be a response from Wayne. We'll see if there's going to be a collab with Snoop. We'll see if Drake decides to say anything. We'll just keep our eyes out there. As long as we keep getting good music, I'm a fan of all of it. As long as ain't nobody getting killed, and as long as we keep getting good music, I'm all for it. I'm all for it. So with that, we are going to close out our show with our final take, which is the Fitz Take, in which we are talking about the Dallas Cowboys because they are the headliners of everything. And no, we're not talking about their win over the Commanders on Sunday. Instead, we're talking about after their loss to the Houston Texans last Monday, where Cowboy stars CeeDee Lamb and Trevon Diggs were reportedly shooting a music video at a club after the game against the Texans, a game where I believe Houston won 34-10. Elijah,
that's you, bro. That's you, bro.
take off with that, man. I got my thoughts on this, but I'm gonna let you have an opportunity to take the floor on this one. How do you feel about these Cowboys players going out and shooting a music video after getting their butts whooped on national television?
Man, obviously, they don't care. Um, to be honest with you, I hate to say that about people that's in the professional field because honestly, I think they do have. I think their hearts in the right places, but I think sometimes they take it and they do stuff that doesn't make sense to me, or to the world. After losing 34-10, um, I think it was at your house when you lost to Houston. You lost it at home. You decide to go to the club and shoot a music video. I'm not one for telling who to cope after you lose, but I don't think a music video appearance should be a way to cope. I don't think you in a club with a bottle and a bunch of women or whatever was around and should be a way to cope. I'm not saying that you should go back in there and watch the film immediately. Maybe you just need to be home in a dark room, just soak up or whatever the loss was. But we're in a social media time where cameras are around, and if cameras are around, they're going to pick up on stupidity, and this was stupidity. You don't go to a club after a game to celebrate like you just won a Super Bowl, a division, an NFC championship. You didn't win anything. You just got stomped on a mud hole out of. And you sitting there and want to pop a bottle? Hey man, we lost 34-10. Pop some champagne. Woo, nah. That ain't how it works. And I don't even feel bad for Jerry Jones because he created some of this stuff with his antics, but I think that getting paid, and this is how your leadership is in the locker room, because Trevon Diggs is the leader in the cornerback room, and CeeDee Lamb is the most played player in that receiver room, and they're the leaders. For them to be a leader and showing this way to the young guys after a loss like that on national TV, I should say, I think you should just start looking into who's really the leaders on these teams, especially on the Dallas Cowboys, because this isn't a good look for those guys. And dude, I'm happy I'm not a Cowboys fan. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm happy I'm not a Cowboys fan because yeah, that would rub me the wrong way until the tenure is gone from that team, unless they change a little bit. But I'm happy I'm not a Cowboys fan. That's all I'm
bro. I'm trying to go back and find the picture when I was in high school, and I remember we played in the Superdome. I don't think I'm gonna be able to find it because this gallery is so extensive. But when I was in high school, we played against Archbishop Rummel in the state championship game, and we lost by 1 point. And I remember uh, being hunched over on the carpet of the Superdome, the turf of the Superdome, and I was in tears, crying, bro. My coach had to come get me off the field because we had lost that game, and I just remember that feeling, man. I remember when we got to college, and we were my freshman year. We went 3-7. I lost more games my freshman year of college than I had lost in high school. And I remember after every game, bro, I would be in such a bad mood. I wouldn't want to talk to nobody. I was upset. And I didn't even play in my freshman year. That was basically like a redshirt year for me. But even my sophomore year when I started playing after a loss, bro, I'm not in no good mood. I don't want to go to no club. And again, like Elijah said, I'm not telling you how to cope. But after all of the blood, the sweat, the tears, bro, all these 5 a.m. workouts, all these power cleans, all these 110s that we done ran, all of this stuff, and we lose. And I would get to the locker room and dudes would be in there laughing. Bro, what is funny? What we laughing for? Why is this a feel-good moment? We just lost. And then even more so for them as professionals, bro, this is your job. You had a bad performance on your job. That's like for us as reporters, we missing slot and we laughing about it. No, because if you keep missing slot, they're going to fire you. Keep losing and see what happens. Let them have lost today to the Commanders. Mike McCarthy's seat would have only gotten hotter. He's coaching in a contract year right now. I guarantee you he's not going to be back next year. He ain't going to be back. He ain't going to be laughing then. He ain't going to be popping bottles then. Hey, man, I get that you now have a lot of access. You have even more access to things to be able to do more of what you wanted to growing up because you have money now. You have the ability to pay videographers and go into clubs and have these private sections. And you can say, you know what? Let's shoot this music video. Bro, do that on your off day. Or better yet, in the off season. That's when you do it. When you in season, man, lock in. Lock in. This is the opportunity because now you are 4-7 in the regular season. So you have 6 more games to go. You still in the hunt for the playoffs. As horrible as you've been, you still have an opportunity to make the postseason somehow, some way. Because you just beat the second team in the division in the Commanders. You still have an opportunity. But because it doesn't mean as much to you, And I can't say how hard these guys work. I can't speak to that because we don't see that. But that to me kind of says that you don't care as much. We lost, so let me just go blow off some steam and do whatever I want to do. I ain't telling you to go and do back pedals on the field immediately after. I'm not telling you to go and watch film. Bro, I'm telling you to care about it, to show that you actually care about it. You know, obviously Trevon had his moment weeks ago with the reporter out of Dallas where he came out and he took offense to it. That kind of showed you that you care. That was a moment. I ain't saying attack all these reporters, but we need to see more moments like that, bro. We need to see that this is frustrating to you. We need to see like what Malik Neighbors said in the locker room after the Giants lost. That boy tired of losing. And he only been in the league for 11 games. He tired. He tired already. Because he cares. There's a sense of pride behind that. And he was out doing stuff on his off day. He had went to, I think it was a Ron Wave concert or something. It was during a bye week. I am not mad at that. Live your life. But to go and shoot a music video right after the game is over, the body not even fully cold yet, and you already done got married again. Come on, man. Come on. Come on, man. We got to do better. Guys have to do better, guys. But this is a new era. This is a new era. And, you know, people are going to say that, you know, back then people were doing crazy stuff. It just wasn't social media and all that stuff like that. They was wrong, too. I don't care who you are. When you put in as much work as you do on a, so I'm gonna walk you through what our typical week looked like when I was playing in college. Okay, we played the game Saturday, so you would get on a bus. If it was a road game, you got on the bus, you drove all the way back. If it was a far trip, you would ride all the way back. You might go to your room, sleep for a couple of hours. We had a team meeting at like 12:30, 1 o'clock. And then you had weights and film sessions, and you would flip flop in between. Okay. No, we'd have team meetings after all of that. So you would come in, you would have weights and film, and you would flip flop. So you might go and film and be in there for like an hour and some change. You'd have weights, and then we'd have a team meeting, and then we'd have what's called stretch and stride, where you go out to the field, you run, you stretch, you break a good sweat, and then you break it down. So that whole afternoon, you dedicated to football. You might go to church early in the morning, but the whole afternoon from like 12 o'clock to about 5, almost 6 o'clock, you dedicated to football. So for a good portion of my college career, a 12 o'clock game, I wasn't watching it. I might watch the first quarter of it. I was in a meeting. I was in the weight room. Okay? Monday, you have an off day. Tuesday, you got a team meeting that morning. You got class. You got meetings. You got practice from 3 to 6. You do it all over again Wednesday. Thursday, you have a 5 a.m. class, or excuse me, you have 5 a.m. practice, which is a little bit lighter. Friday, you have a walkthrough, and you do it all over again, week after week after week. So we doing all of this during the week. And we get to Saturday. Brother, I've been a part of losses 82-10. Do you think that I'm going to be kicking after losing a game? Like, come on, man. I don't care who the opponent is. After doing all of that all week long, and in some weeks, brother, I remember my senior year, I rolled my ankle bad. I thought I broke my ankle. I rolled it so bad. So for the whole season, I had to go to the training room, ice and stem, wearing ankle braces. I had to get a cleat one size bigger because I would get my ankle wrapped, put a sock on, and an ankle brace on. That's how much reinforcement I needed on my ankle. My junior year, I sprained my MCL to the point where they had to take my knee up and put a brace on. So I'm going through all this same stuff while dealing with all of that physically. I got a broken finger like this to where it don't straighten out for the rest of my life. And you think I'm going to be laughing after a game? Child, please. But y'all go ahead, man. Y'all go ahead, shoot your music video. Y'all shoot your music video.
Go ahead and shoot your music video. Have a good time.
Go have a good time. I'm gonna sip my drink. Y'all have a good time. But y'all tell us what you think. Tell us down in the comments. What's your take on this? This is our take. This is not the right or wrong take. What do you believe? Were the Cowboys players correct for going out and shooting a music video right after losing a football game? Y'all tell us. With that, ladies and gentlemen, this is our 16th episode that we've done here on the Fitz Take Podcast. We're just going to continue to elevate, especially as we're now getting into the holidays. We're just going to continue to elevate. Hopefully we can get to 300 subscribers before we get to Christmas, and who knows what can happen before the new year starts. We thank y'all so much for everything that you've done, getting us here to this point. It is so much greatly appreciated. Elijah, you got anything else?
Oh man, appreciate y'all too. Appreciate everything y'all done. Hopefully you're watching this episode while you're eating some greens, some turkey, ham, fried chicken, whatever you like to do. Some macaroni and cheese.
All that.
But thank y'all for everything, man. I hope you guys have safe holidays. If you're traveling, I hope you have a safe holiday. If your family's coming to town, I hope they get there safely as well. So I just want to say thank y'all and enjoy your holiday. But I really appreciate everything y'all have done.
Absolutely. We are truly thankful for y'all in this season of being thankful. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to like this video. Be sure to comment under this video. Be sure to share it with a friend. But most importantly, hit the bell down below and subscribe to the channel. Also, follow us over on Spotify. Follow myself, Elijah, and my production company, One Way Productions, on our social media platforms that are linked down in the description. We greatly appreciate y'all. As always, signing out for Elijah Nixon, I'm Jamarcus Fitzpatrick. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching this clip of the Fitz Take Podcast. Be sure to like this video and also subscribe to the YouTube channel. And also follow me and Elijah on our social media platforms. They will be linked down in the description. And remember, every episode of the Fitz Take Podcast will air right here on the YouTube channel every Monday at 2 p.m. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.